Hello, everyone. We are Bible Moments. Please support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing so that we can produce more quality videos to share with you. Thank you and love you.
One morning long ago in Israel, a miracle happened in a family's home. A barren woman was standing in her house when an angel appeared to her in a flash of light. An angel told her she'd bear a son dedicated to God. He would be a Nazirite, never cutting his hair. His uncut hair will be the source of his strength, the angel said. Remember, his strength will flow from his hair. Soon after, she gave birth to Samson, a child destined for greatness. Samson grew up to be strong and powerful. He was a special boy. One day, the young Samson went out alone. He felt very quiet and unusually grave around him. When he entered the mountain trail, a lion is waiting in ambush deep in the jungle. The lion suddenly rushed out and pounced on Samson. Samson blocked the lion with one hand, thinking that he must not be allowed to enter the village. He fought the lion with determination and courage. Samson fought the lion with all his strength. Suddenly, he rode up to the lion and overwhelmed it, winning the battle. Samson defeats the lion and carries it back to his village. The villagers marveled at his power. They saw the favor of God. At that time, the Israelites were often oppressed by the Philistine soldiers. The Israelites were angry, but they could not resist. The adult Samson often fought for his people against the Philistine soldiers. In a battle, Samson picked up the jawbone of a donkey.
What is that?
The Philistine soldiers watched in horror as the donkey's head waved in front of their eyes, beaten and bruised. His power was unstoppable, and by the gift of God, Samson used this temporary weapon to defeat 1,000 soldiers of the Philistine army. And the messengers spread the story everywhere, saying, "Have you heard of Samson?" His fame spread. All knew his strength came from God. But Samson had a weakness, and his love name was Delilah. Samson loved Delilah so much that he would do anything for her and trusted her. The Philistine leaders used this to bribe her to reveal the secret of Samson's power. Delilah accepted the bag of coins with a conflicted expression. After that day, every day during her time with Samson, she tries to ask him about the source of his power, until Samson reveals his secret to her. Samson said to her, "My strength is in my unshaven hair. If I cut it off, I will lose my strength and become weak." One night, while Samson was sleeping, Delilah brought a barber to cut his hair and beard. She watched the scene with a cold and unfeeling look on her face. The next morning, Samson awoke and felt his hair in surprise. His tall, strong body had lost its weight and strength and felt weak. The Philistines seized him easily. They blinded Samson and put him in jail and tied him up with chains. A few years later in prison, his hair grew back and he began to regain his strength. During a Philistine celebration, they took Samson out of prison to humiliate him by entertaining the crowd. Samson held his head in his hands and thought a little. Samson stood between two pillars with his hands on them, and the people laughed at him. His blindfold fell off, and as he listened to the jeers of the crowd around him, he bowed his head and prayed again sincerely, "God, please give me strength again." Samson felt a renewed sense of strength in his body and tried to push the pillar down with all his might. Looking around at the Philistines, Samson shouted, "This is the end of it. You will be buried with me." The pillars snapped in response. The temple began to crumble and collapse. A tidal wave of boulders, dust and debris erupted and filled the air. The survivors fled for their lives, and Samson was buried along with his enemies, as he had wished. Distant view of the collapsed temple, his sacrifice delivered his people from their enemies. His encounters teach us, beware the allure that leads astray. Unwise choices fail the strong, and strength alone cannot prevent a fall. True strength comes from faithfulness, not just power. Faith is the source of true might. Trust must be given carefully, or betrayal will bring destruction. Even in weakness, we can find salvation through faith. Samson's journey was both grand and grave. His true weakness lay within. His story warns us not to be easily influenced by temptation. His downfall came through misplaced trust and desire. Nevertheless, his final act fulfilled his destiny and purpose. He accomplished more after his sacrifice than he ever had in his lifetime. His legacy endures and continues to remind us of human frailty. We know that pride and complacency will eventually lead to self-degradation. But self-humility and faith can help us recover from failure. Samson's story reflects the enduring power of purpose. Purpose ignites renewal. He taught us that even if you are flawed, you can do great things if you have faith in your heart, because greatness is in all of us. His life demonstrated that it is dangerous to be without the power of wisdom. We must guard against deception and temptation. Beware of traps. His narrative encourages perseverance despite setbacks. In the darkest moments, hope and redemption are always possible. And he exemplifies how divine purpose can be fulfilled. Destiny awaits those who listen. Samson's journey is a testament to faith's power with faith. I am strong. He reminds us to use our gifts wisely and humbly. Use your strengths for good. His story warns us not to let our desires control us. Is this truly what you need? In the end, he showed that sacrifice can bring victory. His life was for the people. Lying still and at rest in the fallen temple, calmly accepting his destiny. His life encourages us to find strength in faith. Together we are strong. We are reminded that choices have lasting consequences. So remember, choose your path carefully. Samson's legacy is a blend of warning and inspiration, and people will be reflecting on it. He teaches about resilience and the chance for redemption. We all can rise again. Through his experiences, whether it be his adventures, fighting lions, battling tyranny, redeeming his people, or his ultimate self-sacrifice, we can learn valuable life lessons. Samson's story continues to influence us today. From ancient times to modern times, his legacy has inspired many. People from all backgrounds have drawn strength from his journey. Athletes who pushed the limits, doctors of faith, passionate artists, teachers who empowered youth. These scenes show how Samson's story transcends time and reminds us that true strength lies in all of us. We see purpose can prevail over personal flaws. Purpose outshines imperfection. Just as Samson faced trials, so do we all. His story mirrors our struggles. Through challenges, we find strength within ourselves. He stood firm in his faith, an example of how faith can overcome great adversity. His enduring story reflects the complexity of the world. Throughout history, from ancient times to the present day, people from any time and place will find themselves inspired by his stories. True strength comes from within through humility, wisdom, and loyalty. Let's remember to use our gifts wisely and stay true to our purpose.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share.